You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about choices. In life, we have to make choices. We get to that crossroad and we have to go right, we have to go left, we have to go straight, or even go backwards. But right now, we're going to focus on how you can tap into the motivation that you need to make those hard choices in life. And we're going to also have a very inspirational guest coming up in our next segment, Dennis Marcelino, who's going to talk about his journey as an ex-alcoholic and drug abuser, and all that he went through to really give all that up and really make the choice of recovery over, those abuses. And then we're going to be taking your call. Again, that number's 800-333-0001. Again, 800-333-0001. Also, we'd like to hear from you. If you have any questions or need resources from today's show, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com. And if you have an inspirational story that you think our audience would benefit from hearing, again, we'd love you to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, we get requests each week from people who want to hear the shows over again because they want to hear the lessons again and be reminded of how they can stay empowered each week. So just go to livingfullout.com, click on the radio show tab. All of our episodes will be waiting there for you, including today's show if you want to hear it again. So again, we're talking about choices. How do we make the choices? How do we decide? How do we not allow ourselves to fall into the trap of denial or just being stuck in life? Well, you have to make choice. You have to take a risk. Now, you want to calculate this risk. You want to think about the pros and the cons. So when I go to make a choice, I think about, how will I be affected? How will people in my life be affected? And are there any negatives? And then I look at the positives. How will this enrich my life? How will this positively influence others? And then what is the reward? What is the benefit that I'll be getting from that choice? And once you can weigh out the pros and the cons, then you can confidently step out there and make that choice in a big way. Now, sometimes in life we have split-second decisions, right? We have to make them very fast. That's where you want to hone the skill of assessing those positives and those negatives quickly. When we're in a moment where maybe there's an accident or something, you have to react very quickly. And so again, it's just honing that skill of being able to really process it fast. Now, I'm getting a word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, thank you for calling. Hi, how can I help? Hi, how can I help you today?
I just have a concern. I feel kind of struggle in this kind of very competitive environment. It's kind of hard to raise a kid. I wish to raise the kid with the respect, appreciation, and with the confidence. A happy kid that I it's kind of very struggle in the everybody looking for the academic success. And so I just want to get the advice from you. And sometimes how to release my concern if I feel I'm not a parent. Then I really did a good job to help my kids. Sometimes I feel the worry kind of very bother myself too.
Well, first of all, that as a parent, you don't get a manual at birth, right? They don't give you the lay of the land of how it's all going to go. So first of all, you just have to trust yourself. And we're talking about choices today, right? So you have to, trust that you're going to make the right choices when it comes to your kids. Now, I also feel that it's very important at an early age or whatever age you can get them enrolled in this, but give them mentors, positive mentors, even outside of you, because there's a certain listening. Like they're going to come to you for nurturing. They're going to come to you and seek approval. and they're going to look to you for all the basic needs, food, shelter, and beyond. But you also want to fill their life with other coaches, other mentors, people that they can turn to. That's why I really applaud, programs like Big Brother, Big Sister, or if you can, get them into sports, or even just anything where they have some sort of a coach that can also allow them to see the leadership skills or the natural gifts and talents they have. And when you're able to do that, now you're building the confidence within that person, within your child, that they have something. They have a unique selling proposition. They have something unique that they can bring to the world. If they only hear this from you, they will still take it, love it, appreciate it, but they need to hear it from other people. That's what will take them up a notch when it comes to confidence. Now, when they go out into the world where it's all competitive, they're not going to feel like they're a small fish in a big pond. They're going to feel like they're their own big fish in their own pond, because they're going to realize the uniqueness about them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
And it is never too late to build that mentorship or get those coaches or tutors or you name it, whatever they need. So that's what I would do. And also just keeping the door of communication always open. And I know that's a fine line, because you're crossing the line between being a parent and being their friend. But just always having that door open, that if they make a mistake, if they fail, that you can tell them, you know what, I've done it too. Sometimes parents are superheroes in children's eyes, or, they're on a certain pedestal. And you sometimes have to take yourself off that pedestal and bring it down to a more realistic place where you're like, I've been where you are, and tell them stories so they feel more relatable to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And you know what? You're doing the first step today by calling in, and with this on your mind, and with the passion and love you have for your children, you're not going to lose. You got it. You got this. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Absolutely. So again, she brought up a great question. How do we motivate our children? How do we within our own lives not feel so gobbled up by the competition of the world? What we do is we have to look inside ourselves. What is it that we can bring to the world? What is it that is unique about us? Now, how does that relate to choices? Well, as you evolve, as you advance in life, it's all about becoming the best version of yourself that you want to be. So to do that, you have to consider making the right choices. That might be in terms of education, not just choosing a career that others think you should do, but what passionately fires you up. Sometimes that's going to equate to a lot of money, and sometimes it's not. But I promise, if you go with passion and you go with something that doesn't even feel like a job because you enjoy it so much, again, you will be the big winner. When it comes to relationships, and you're making choices there on who to date or who to marry, or where to even meet these people, again, it's a choice. And I think that we need to sometimes experiment, because in making choices, if you don't try, if you don't test out different things, you don't know what you like. So I tell clients all the time who are looking to date people, try going to a dog park, just randomly meeting someone, or at a grocery store, or try going to church, or try online dating, or ask a group of friends, you know what, who do you know that's single? Can one of you set me up? Who knows? So you just have to be fearless and put yourself out there. Again, it's a choice. We can play it safe in life. We can be comfortable, or we can say, you know what, I want more. I'm going to ante up, and I'm going to go for it, and I don't know what it's going to look like. Now, I'll tell you, it's kind of interesting, because being legally blind, literally, I cannot see, what's in front of me. And I had to learn over life, why did I go blind? Why did this happen to me? And I've realized that I had to make the choice to see what were the benefits that I was getting in being blind. Of course, there's the negatives. I can't drive, and things get a little bit more tricky with technology and things I wish I could see and do quicker. However, I made a choice to look at what are the positives. Well, I get to see a side of people, an empathetic side that I don't think I would have seen. I have to ask for help, and when I ask for help, again, I see that nurturing side of people. And so it's important that, whether you have a disability, whether you're at a crossroad in life where you're not sure which way to go, whatever it is that you're trying to decide, it's just about taking that leap, a leap of faith, some would say, and making a choice, making a commitment. And if it's not the right choice, don't beat yourself up, because the next choice and the next choice is coming. It's all about living full out. Now, when we come back, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest, Dennis Marcelino. His story is awesome. You don't want to miss it. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. We'll be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
Yeah, how about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
It's not what I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And
then nothing. Ha 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 ha. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome back to the Living Full Out show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about choices, how we find the motivation, how do we find the answers, because I can tell you, I've been at the crossroad many times, and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And sometimes you have ample time to think about it, and sometimes you don't. You have to make that split-second decision and go with it and trust yourself. And it's important that, in living a life full out, there's going to be tons of choices. Some are going to only impact you, and some are going to impact others in your life. And remember that all you can do is the best that you can. I think we strive so oftentimes to be perfect, to look the part, to not make mistakes, to not fall. But it's when you make a mistake, it's when you fall, it's when you fail that you get the biggest lessons. And that allows us to learn so that when we make future choices, now we're able to look back at the past. What were the results of certain choices that we made? And how can we make better choices into the future? It's really about, again, taking those risks, but trusting yourself that when you make a choice, you got to kind of go with it and, reap the rewards or feel the pain. But either way, it's about just going for it. And our inspirational guest today, Dennis Marcelino, had to make for himself many tough choices. While he achieved success as a musician with well-known bands like the Electric Flag and Sly and the Family Stone and the Tokens, he dealt also with addiction, dependency on alcohol and drugs. And so he's going to take us on that journey today about how he made the choices to step into recovery and not look back. And today he is a great example of living life full out. So I'd like to welcome Dennis to the show. Hello, Dennis.
Good morning.
Hi, thank you for joining us. So
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, so I want to take our audience back, okay? Because with all this fame and success that you had, it all started really when you were around 15, kind of doing your early gigs. That was the first time that you were actually introduced to alcohol, even at that tender age. Can you share with us about that?
Well, yeah, that was the typical, teenagers hanging out. Mm-hmm. And we used to hang out and we used to drink.
Mm-hmm. And then as your career kind of went ahead, you also grew with your relationships. Now, not everybody gets married at 17, but you did. So, when you got married at 17, you had found the love of your life at such a tender age. And, amongst that love, you were still trying to thrive in your career. But now more drugs were introduced to you. What were the drugs that you and your wife would take during that time?
Well, see, actually, I was trying to do the normal thing.
Okay.
I was going to college as an engineer, and then when I worked as an engineer, right across the street was the Film Auditorium, and that's the whole beginning of the hippie movement. And I was just totally taken up with the bands, and so I decided to switch my career to musician. And when it's like the what they call it, the martini for the 1950s businessman. In those days, for being a musician in San Francisco, the drugs of choice were dope, mainly, marijuana, mm-hmm. And then it kind of progressed to hash, and then later cocaine and heroin, and so I just partook in all those.
And was some of that related to the peer pressure, just kind of going along with the gang, or did you actually enjoy doing the drugs?
I think it was a combination. Mm-hmm. You're kind of pushed by the peer pressure into experimenting with drugs, mm-hmm. And I did. There was some things that I did enjoy about, like getting high on grass. And the thing that kind of got to me, though, was, why don't I feel this way naturally all the time? It was very peaceful and relaxed. And then there's the come down, which I didn't like, and the headaches and all that, kind of like the hangover with the alcohol. And so I just started on a journey, like a spiritual journey, to find out, what's going on. Is there a way to feel that way naturally?
Well, and I love that you mentioned that, because one of your best experiences with drugs was a night that you were on LSD, right? And you were taken so high that it was peaceful. It was a place you had never felt before.
Exactly. That was a good way to put it, what you just said. The way, and it's something I'd never thought of. And to me, it was just like discovering God. The potential for a human being to experience love is just incredible. And I guess it took that drug to make me realize that. So then I really was inspired to pursue, why don't I feel this way naturally?
Well, exactly. Now, it's interesting because you said it best one time that LSD was a bit of Russian roulette, because you had this beautiful moment, your first experience, going so high and feeling love and feeling peace. But then your wife took LSD, and she had a very epic negative experience. Can you share with us about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that I read an article one time that was called Fear Fallout. And so it was so bad that what she experienced, I had to drive her to a mental hospital. And that was it. The marriage was over. I mean, we had 7 years of great, love and joy. And then all of a sudden, just one night, one experience with LSD. That's why I call it Russian roulette. It was over.
Mm. And that's sad, because she was the love of your life. And did that instantly change your view of drugs, or did that amplify things even more, because now obviously you were depressed?
Yeah, well, the whole before that was just about getting high, but then after that experience, I went into agoraphobia, and it was survival. And so therefore I did something that I didn't do for all those, initial hippie years, which was drink, and because alcohol would just kind of like part of my survival from the agoraphobia.
Mm-hmm. During that time, and there are going to be a handful of our listeners who are with you right now because they're experiencing something heavy in their life, a loss, a disappointment, a failing in their life, and perhaps they're also turning to alcohol. And how did you see? Did you see yourself through the weeds at all? Were you able to function at all without the alcohol?
No.
Okay. Would be no. Okay. Well, when we come back, Dennis, I'm going to actually explore that no further, because that pain is where we all can grow together. So I want you to stay with me, because we're going to go to a commercial break. And but we're all about living full out. We're all about getting rid of that heaviness in our life. So Dennis, stay with us. And everybody, when we come back, we're going to be talking further with Dennis. This is the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. We'll be right back.
Listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And right now, we're in our interview with our inspirational guest, Dennis Marcelino. Today, we're talking about choices. And as a musician who was in very famous bands like the Electric Flag, the Tokens, Sly and the Family Stone, he dealt with drug and alcohol abuse, addiction, dependency, whatever you want to call it. But he fought through the fire to get to the other side, to a place that he found peace, he found clarity in his life. So I'd like to welcome Dennis back to the show.
I'm here.
Hi. Well, there you are. Love that voice. Nice. Okay, good. So I just, before we went to the break, we were talking about how, the loss of your wife, the downfall of your marriage, all the drugs, the pressure, that kind of put you into a very deep, dark hole, where then you turn to alcohol to help alleviate that pain. And so many of us who, even on a lighter scale, there's people who pop a bottle of wine, yes, for celebratory reasons, but also when you're having a bad day, right? And people might turn to weed or might turn to, painkillers or whatever to numb pain. And I think it's really important, your story here, Dennis, because, again, you did eventually get through the fire, but aside from the alcohol, did you feel like you were living a lie? Was anybody there that you could talk to?
Not really, because, to expose how I was feeling would jeopardize what the fix in my life was. And the fix in my life basically was that I had to make it in the music business. And so everything else is variable, drugs, alcohol, relationships, didn't matter. That was the fixed. And so until I changed that fix, I didn't get fixed.
Well, and I think that's important. We all need to look at ourselves. Alcohol, drugs, that doesn't fix us. We have to look inside. And that's actually one of the most tender parts of your story, is you were seeking these answers. You weren't looking to get high because you love the drugs so much. You just wanted to know how you could feel that freedom, that liberation every day. And so as you were clawing through the weeds, I'll say, turning to alcohol, you were drinking nightly and you were upping your ante. What did you get to in terms of alcohol abuse? What was your epic time?
When I was working in the clubs, we would have 5 sets, and therefore we would have 4 breaks. And during each break, I would do some tequila. And then it turned out that during the day, then I started drinking, and I just wanted the strongest stuff, and that was chartreuse. I think was 120 proof. And so one time in my refrigerator, I looked, and all was in there was a bottle of chartreuse.
Wow.
So, but like you were saying though, what I was doing during that whole time though is I was trying to solve this problem. And even though I was self-medicating with the alcohol, I was seeing psychiatrists and psychologists and different growth groups, trying to give me an answer as to how I can feel peace, how I could feel good, and not feel the weakness for alcohol.
And how or where did you finally get your first moment of clarity, the first step of this recovery?
Let's see. A friend of mine, he was taking over. I was moving on to a higher position in the band, and so this guy was taking over my position, and he says, so what are you into? And I was really drunk at the time. I was in a club, and I said, I'm just into finding the truth. I don't care what I have to do or where I have to go. And he goes, oh, well, this is your lucky night. And so he says, meet me on Sunday. Oh, no, he said, give me a call, and then we can talk about this. And so at 3 o'clock in the morning when we got off our gig, I gave him a call, and because I was very desperate. And so he says, on Sunday, I'll take you to this group. And then at the group, you'll find peace. You'll find out how to have peace.
And what was the group?
So, pardon?
And what was the group?
His name was Guru Maharaji, and it was Divine Light Mission. And everybody there was very, not only just peaceful, they were blissed out, and there was no drugs or alcohol, anything like that. Very inspired to connect with God within them. And each person would get up one at a time and talk to the group, just kind of like, give their testimony. They called it satsang. And I got totally inspired. So I just stopped the drinking at that point.
And you made that choice. You made that choice to do so. And was that easy? Did you relapse? Were you tempted?
No, actually. There was the group. It was an international movement, and there was a lot of support there in the group. So I didn't feel like I had to put on, like the Eleanor Rigby, the mask in the jar by the door.
Right.
I used alcohol to fortify that mask. So I didn't feel like I had to do that anymore, because now my peer group was a group that was trying to grow and trying to live naturally higher.
Well, and I love that, because for all of us, we have to make sure that we're hanging out with the right group, the right friends, the right people who will inspire us, take us to that next level. Now, we're kind of towards the end of our interview, so I want to make sure that I get to something with you, because you've walked the abusive alcohol drug journey. You have found your way through the fire. You made a choice to hang out with different people that inspired you and to give up the drinking. And what do you think it is? Because you've now been sober for what? How many years now?
34 years.
For 34 years. So So if you were to give us one ingredient, let's say this was a pie we were making, what is the one secret ingredient that has kept you strong for those years?
Real simple. Basically, I started the search, like I said, through psychiatrists, psychologists, and it's 19 different things that I tried. It's approaches to lifestyle and truth and problem solving, and that would be hypnosis and Eastern mysticism and Scientology, and so there's a bunch of things I tried. Only one of them worked finally in the end at the beginning of the 34 years, and that's just saying, okay, God, I've tried everything else. Jesus, I'm giving my life totally to you. Let's see what you can do with it. I'll do exactly what you say. I'll read the Bible. I'll study it. I'll do exactly what you say for me to do. Mm-hmm. And that was it. That was a magic change. It's just and that worked. It put peace in my heart, confidence, security, and I haven't looked back since.
Well, and I love that. It was really just about making that choice. And for everybody, they have their own beliefs, their own values, their own walk to take. But you made it, and I'm so proud of you for that. I want to thank you, Dennis, so much for being on today's show. And we'll be looking out for you to continue to do great things. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. And for everybody who's listened to, this interview, you too have the ability to make the choice. It may not always be the right choice. Sometimes we're going to make a wrong choice. Sometimes we're going to fall. But when you surround yourself with good people, people that are inspiring, people that will lift you up so that you can walk further, so you can start to run and really live life full out, that's what you're striving for. This community will be with you every week. But let's think about today, where in your life might you need to let go of some relationships that are toxic? Might you need to change your environment, move to a different place? What action steps can you take today to get yourself to a place of truly living your life full out? Now, coming up in our next segment, we will be taking your calls, and we're committed to making sure that you have the tools to make the right decisions, to make ones that fully fill you up inside and give you that peace and clarity that Dennis talked about. We'll be right back after this break.
Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
When making choices in life, you just have to deep down into your heart and soul and realize that whatever choice you make is going to be the right one in the moment. And if it's not the right choice, if you make a mistake or if you fail, take that as a time to learn, to pick up a new life lesson. And the next time we're at that crossroad, I'm confident you'll make the right choice. It's all about living life full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out show. And today we're talking about choices. And I just want to center all of us today that from the minute you wake up, you have the choice to do something. You have the choice to eat the right things, to work out, to read a book, to talk to a friend, to get to work on time, to do whatever it is that brings you joy. Or we have the choice to do something destructive, to do something that's not going to bring us peace, to do something that feels out of alignment with our goals and values. The choice is always yours. I want you to not focus on the past. The past is gone. All we have is today. We actually don't even have the promise of tomorrow. You can only relish in what is going on right now. And so when you're considering the choices of today, just today, with the remainder of what's left in the day, think about what positive choices that you can make to inspire you, to motivate you to live full out. That might be, again, working out. That might be calling a friend that you've been putting off and haven't gotten back to yet. Maybe they left you a voicemail 3 days ago and you've just been putting it off. Maybe that's getting ready and doing homework or preparing for your career, whatever you might need to do. It's just really important that you prioritize, and then that way you can make the right choices. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line, and we're going to go ahead and say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for joining us. How can we help you today?
Well, I have a bit of a unique problem in that I have a 20-year-old daughter, and she is away doing an internship in Dubai, another country, and she has an issue with anxiety and depression, which then comes out sort of as an OCD issue with it's just
brings her anxiety.
That's how it That's
Sure.
how it comes out.
Yeah.
So it generally happens when there's a big transition in her life. That's sort of the pattern we've been noticing. But it just flared up after she left for the summer to do her internship, and she's so far away, and I don't know how to, she calls, pretty regularly, but is very depressed and anxious. I don't know how to support her, on a phone call or even FaceTime and really be there for her when I'm so far away. And even the time change of 8 hours, that makes such a big difference. And I was wondering if you had any suggestions for me.
Well, absolutely. And the thing is so this has obviously been a pattern, and she's been at this crossroad before, right? What gave her peace? What lessened her anxiety in the past?
I'm sorry, what lessens it?
Yep.
That's a good question, because it's almost like she gets in this cycle of circling when she gets into that anxiety and depression and OCD. And
right,
she gets so obsessed with the OCD itself that it kind of just spirals out of control.
Right. But rather focusing on that. So here's where the coaching starts. Okay? It starts right now. So even in this question where I asked you what in the past lessened the anxiety, what got her to a more peaceful place, you went right back into the anxiety. And when we do that, we give the anxiety power. Do you see what I'm saying? So my question to you was, what relieved the pain for her? And you went right back into giving the power to the anxiety and the OCD in further explaining it to me. So what you want to show your daughter is that same thing, okay? So when you call her up, ask her, what did you do today? If she goes back into talking about the OCD or goes into an anxiety-driven place, you want to point out to her that she's giving that OCD. She's giving that anxiety power. It's exactly what you did. And I really welcome you to go back to livingfullout.com and listen to this show again when we have the recording up and kind of hear back this conversation, because I think you'll hear what I mean. And she's going to do it as well. She's going to go on and on about the negative. When we go into the place of the negative and we give that power, now there's no room in our life to be uplifted. So what you want to discover is you want to go back and maybe journal and think about the different times that she was at these crossroads in the past. What relieved the pain? What made her smile? What brought her any amount of joy? And it might have been a book, it might have been food, it might have been friends, it might have been getting more sleep, it might have been medication. I don't know what that was. But you want to look back in the past, see what did help her. And then even though you're far away, you can send her a care package. You can send her videos. You can literally contact her every day with some version. It might be a video that you email her. It might be an email. It might be a text message. It might be a FaceTime, right? We can think all of these days and have some fun with it. Have it be like Motivational Monday, Teasing Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday, and all these little things are going to bring her joy. She might go, "Oh, Mom, that's just silly," or "I've got to get work done." But I promise you, she will love you for it. And any little smile will break up that anxiety. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you so much. I appreciate you pointing that all out.
Absolutely. I believe in you and her. And remember, don't give the power away to the anxiety. Take it back. Okay? Thank you so much for calling in. And I want to thank everybody who is listening today. We're here for you every week. And I want to also give gratitude to our Living Full Out team. We have Rich and Elizabeth and Zoe and Sam and Riley and all the people that put this show on. We look forward to seeing you next week for more inspiration. But until then, here's to you living your life full out.